for good music, art, culture, comedy, and local events. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Watson here on Take It to the
Let's get
Max.
into this show, man. We've got Qi.Oui. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
What do you want to start with? Music?
Music, I've been doing that for some time.
Okay.
I started in Houston in a band for about 3 years, produced an album there, and met my now ex-husband here and moved here from Houston. We started a project together for about 3 years as well, and had about a full album's worth of music. We had an EP that we released, and now this most recent project I've been working with, pretty much pandemic. We were recording during the pandemic and met up pretty much once a week to just lay it down. And these are some of the most talented guys that I've ever worked with musically. And I was really excited and grateful that they brought me in.
It sounds great. And one thing I noticed about it is you've got a couple of tracks, one of which we'll be playing as our bump music coming back in from the break. A lot of drums, heavy guitar.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really rock. They all rock, but in a different way. You've got other ones. They're a little bit more drum machine, keyboard based music, like really synced up. And your voice fits in with all of those genres really well. Is that different people you've been playing with? That's why it's different, or does your group of people you're playing with right now go with live music and the heavy guitar and go produce some music that you play over, or is it two different groups?
So they've been working together for some time, for years. I think they've been making music for about 10 years, and it was a suggestion if they were looking for a female vocalist that they reach out to me. So I ended up connecting with them through a friend, and first time I came out and sang with them, I was like, all right, well, let's do this from here on. We're going to keep recording, and it just felt like so seamless and easy. Every time we got together, we pump out one, sometimes even close to 3 songs in one night. And almost completed. So
yeah, when you're right with the right people and you click, it can be that easy. And when you're really inspired and you got that adrenaline flowing and you're smiling, you're giddy that you're coming up with so much stuff.
it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing it, and they were JFK was the original name of the band, and it's been changed to Berkshire Sound at this point. So that's the new. It has been within the last 6 months. It was kind of, they were deciding whether or not they were going to change the name. So
Gotcha.
the house that we recorded at is located on Berkshire. So Berkshire Sound is kind of where that came from.
I'm going to want to get into each of the groups that you've been in, and then we got to talk about this artwork. We're going to be going here for a break. I want you all on the radio to stick around because you're going to hear some great stuff on the other side of this break. Remember, YouTube, Take It to the Mat channel, subscribe. You're going to hear this great content and tons more great content. So we'll be right back on the other side of this break with
Take It to the Mat.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got to hear this music and more. Make sure you get on the YouTube channel and look her up. Qi.Oui, who have you been playing? We talked about who you've been playing music with. Who are these folks that were in this track that we just heard?
So that's Jason Keller and Dominic Palmentier.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, some of the most talented musicians, and Dom with his production skills just they blew me away, and I really felt just super fortunate to be able to do anything with them. So we have about almost 2 full albums worth of music, and a few things that are out now on iTunes and Spotify, and eventually hopefully going to have the whole catalog out there.
Well, I'll tell you, this is not exactly what when people think about Baton Rouge music. Like, I used to play music, but it was back in like '90, before the Bayou burned down. You would hear the Gin and Tonics and Resonator Squad 3, and then all different kinds of bands that were in there that were all different. And now you hear a lot of very talented people in the vein of blues, Americana, country blues, and a lot of standards, and it's phenomenally done. These people have wonderful skill, But to hear something that just breaks the mold completely, that's brand new and out there, I mean, I got to tell you, I really loved opening the MP3 and hearing this, and then hearing a bunch of other new stuff that was even different than this. So we talked about some of the other ones that were more synth driven or drum machine driven. Is that the same group of folks that you recorded this last track we heard with?
Yeah, so this is really the first project where I've had more kind of that synth electronic kind of element in any of the music. Like I said, they've got just pretty much any kind of, the amount of instruments. They play multiple instruments. It's just the three of us. They play everything that you hear in the songs. And it's, like I said, it's different from what I've done in the past. My first two bands were more kind of standard rock, blues rock-esque, and it was a lot of fun doing that as well. But I have to say, this project has been, to me, by far, like the most excited I've been about making music. And I'm making some music with some other individuals as well. I'm kind of, I tell people I'm ready to sing anytime somebody, like if anybody needs a singer.
I get it. So you said with the folks you're working with now, you have a full album's worth of music that hasn't been released yet?
More than that.
More than
that. We were really just pumping them out during the pandemic. It was crazy how productive we were. I just never experienced anything like that. Previously, it had taken me 3 years in both projects that I was in before to get a full album's worth of music out. Meeting once a week, and then the way that we recorded, everything was improvised. When we got together, it was a new song. We were like, what do we feel like? And oftentimes I would write, I'm very much into martial arts, and so like part of my creative process is that I would bring my bow staff over and they would start playing music, and I would just whip it around outside until I felt inspired by what they were playing. I'd get a line, and I'm like, I got something. I go inside and start recording, and most of the time, at least half of the song was improvised, made up along the way. So it was all it's probably as improvised as I've ever done any kind of.
Do you find that that's a little easier to like just keep rolling with the vibe that you hit something, you knew where you were going to get started, and then like you just hooked up to that battery and you go?
Yes, it definitely felt like very inspiring, very much like channeling something from some other place. It wasn't even me that was, it was kind of coming from something. It's like, where did this come from?
Yeah, man, that is. What instruments do you play? I hear that you're singing. You obviously have your voice is a great instrument that you have a lot of control of. What other instruments do you play?
So I collect instruments. I don't play anything proficiently or extremely well, but I can do enough to bring something to the table often. Some rudimentary kind of basic guitar. I have a piano. I play some piano, and mostly I'm out of practice in a lot, but anytime I've walked into a project, everybody else has got that covered, and they're so much more proficient than I am that it just kind of is like, all right, no, this is what you do that well, so you stick to this. I mean, I might throw a tambourine in there, we all, we definitely like to have fun adding strange sounds, and, it's kind of, it reminds me a lot of, what I really loved, the Beach Boys movie. It was like, so much of that just resonated with me in terms of just how that process worked, just that kind of, like, where it just seems to come out of nowhere, and I always thought that was really cool. I was like,
who are your musical influences? Growing up, who did you listen to? Go way back, because I mean, I don't play any music that sounds like Rhinestone Cowboy, but that was the first 45 I had when I was like 7. Yeah. So, like, from that far back, what is some of the musical influence that made an impression on you?
Well, it's funny because my father played guitar when I was younger. I always would pick up the guitar, put headphones on to his records that he had, and I would just strum the guitar and sing. It sounded horrible outside of the headphones, I'm sure, because I didn't know what I was doing. But I listened to a lot of Rod Stewart at the time. I was listening to a lot of Donna Summer, a lot of, as a kid, this is my dad's record collection was kind of, I had his player in my room. He loved Willie Nelson, so I think I have pretty much like every album Willie Nelson's made. Waylon Jennings, Linda Ronstadt. I love Linda Ronstadt. I think her Spanish stuff is really awesome. Wow. And I have I say I have a 3 E's of vocal influence, and it's Edith Piaf, Etta James and Eartha Kitt are kind of
Mhm.
my three E's. I really just,
Gotcha.
I've always really loved their voices and what they can do with them as an instrument.
When you said those other groups that you were in before you came here, then got together with the folks that you're with here, you said that was a little bit more rock and roll-ish.
Yes.
Are any of those, if somebody says, hey, I want to go check that out, is that up anywhere for somebody to go dig out?
Yeah, there is. Actually, my first band was Buffalo Bayou. We all grew up in Houston, and I literally, my house was right on Buffalo Bayou, so my backyard was the bayou. So that project was, we all went to high school together pretty much, and they were the guys that I played with, there was four of us, so myself, and Mick Deneen, Fabio Antonio, and Jordan Hudson, and they had been friends for a very long time, so they kind of, I was dating at the time, the drummer Fabio, and it was kind of like, they were like, we're making a band, and I was like, well, I can sing, I don't think they trusted me at first, they were just like, sure, we'll let you try, and then after a while, they were just like, oh man, like, if something happens and we go somewhere, they might just take her away. So it's like we might have to sign something, or so it was kind of funny. But whenever I ended up, we had some changes in the band. A couple members went out, some new ones came in, and I came here for New Year's to meet my mother and sister, who we were all kind of converging in Baton Rouge to visit. And that's when I met my ex-husband at the time. And I ended up moving here. It was fairly quick. And my band at the time called him Yoko because they were like, she's breaking up the band. So and they thought I was crazy. They're like, are you kidding me? You're just gonna move away? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun, and I needed an adventure at the time. I think I needed to try something new, and it just felt like I'd never lived anywhere outside of Houston, and it's been a fun experience.
Yeah. Well, I started playing music in the Detroit and East Lansing area up in Michigan, and then to come here, what a change! I imagine it's a significant change from Houston to over here. When you've got swamp pop here, you've got all these other things that may be a niche thing in Houston, but is much larger over here. Did you notice a big change in music, or what was expected of you?
I think mostly it was. I really, when I first started, playing any music or anything, at the time my ex-husband played guitar, and we were kind of playing around with stuff, just singing, the two of us, kind of a singer-songwriter thing. And then some of his in-laws, his brother-in-law played guitar. He's like, let's start a band. So we ended up starting a band, which was the Fret Medics, and it was the lead guitarist, John Lyons, he's a surgical oncologist, and then the drummer was a radiologist. So it was Fret Medics, kind of made sense because
okay.
But we really, we played around a little bit. We played a couple of places. We did some fundraisers at the Varsity for the Rock for Spots, melanoma fundraising, and then of course when my husband and I split up, he was family with the band, so one of us had to go. It was going to be me. Yeah. So.
I get it.
I found, music comes to me. I don't seek it out. It always just seems to show up and work. So I've pretty much consistently been making music with one project or another for the last 15 years or so. And Buffalo Bayou, we still have stuff right now on SoundCloud. Okay. So if you were to look up Buffalo Bayou on SoundCloud, you would find some of the music there.
Well, I'll tell you what. Not only are you a recording artist, you're a visual medium artist. And before we get into that, I've got to shout out to the awesome people who supply me with beer that they carry all the time, so I can remind you to go to the corner of 7th and Spanish Town Road, go in and see Ann and Alden and look at all the different craft beers they've got over there. And today, if you haven't had it already, I know most people have, this Tin Roof Voodoo. It's awesome. You had this before, haven't you?
I have not.
Oh my God, get ready. There we go.
I can knock my socks off.
Oh man.
It is the first Louisiana beer to win a gold medal at the Great American Beer Festival in Denver, Colorado.
And it is delicious. Cheers on the
cheers.
music that I've heard. Absolutely incredible. What do you think?
This is actually, I like this. This is good.
I get it most every time that I go. Like if I go to, now I'm drawing a blank on places that I go. I need to go back and look at that election flyer that Gloria sent out to
Yeah, 'cause
remember all the places that I
It
go
listed
to
everywhere
drink.
you hung out at, Matt. So
Yeah, I know,
keep track
I
of
know.
that.
Oh, Ivars,
There you
yeah.
go. There you go.
Ivars. And it was funny, real briefly on Facebook, somebody pointed out on that card that was sent out that I'd spent $59, and two people were like, when's the last time you spent $59 at Ivars? This dude is fiscally conservative.
Yeah. He's got my vote.
We've got this is what you sent me in an email, and you've got some of the pieces here. So each one of these is much larger. What's the medium you got? Are these grease pencils, or is it chalk?
So it's mixed media. So I use a lot of different stuff. I use a lot of spray paint. I like spray paint is a lot of fun. And I use acrylic. A lot of
tell the world.
So spray paint, acrylic, oil pastel crayons.
Gotcha. Prismacolors and stuff like that.
I was doing a lot of watercolor and that type of pencil coloring stuff. That's where I kind of started playing around with things, and then actually my friendship with TJ Black, he kind of gave me a lot of. He really helped kind of in a way develop my style. I don't know if I really had a true style, and I don't know why. I just kind of the colors. I like the fact that he had so many bright colors in his work, and it really felt natural to me to kind of move in that direction with color.
Gotcha. If you don't mind, let's pick up some of these and face the little camera. You show a lot of color. So this is this watercolor in here, or do you just treat it with something to get the fades and whatnot?
Yeah, it's really the process is kind of like with music. I never have an idea of what I'm doing when I start. It kind of just comes out, and I oftentimes don't really even know what it's going to be until I keep stepping back and looking at it, and it eventually typically ends up being a face somewhere. I tell people I paint my emotions. I guess I paint my feelings. So a lot of it's kind of in character totems, like totems of emotion, modems.
There you go. Yeah,
totems.
I like that.
So for me, it's a lot of it's like offloading, I guess. I feel that when I'm especially stressed or holding a lot of emotion in some way, it's almost like this is therapeutic. It's just like a release of just getting it out, and then sometimes it shows me something that I didn't really realize I was experiencing when I look back at it and go, ooh, what is that? So yeah, it's kind of similar. Well,
let's look at some more of these. I mean, each one of these is so unique. When you get up close, they're all distinctly different, and the style in which you put these together, using the same sort of medium that you're using, the same variety of colors. When you get up close, especially when you compare this is what we just saw, and then the next one, which we'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot of different. I haven't had a lot. This is kind of a newer, and this is one of the newer pieces that I did, and I feel like I'm moving into some lighter territory now in terms of the just fill in. But I'm a big fan of Basquiat and certain styles of artists, graffiti art. I really love graffiti art, and I guess it just kind of felt like that. That's kind of where my influence is, comes from. I like things that sometimes also have multiple, like you can look at different parts of it and see different things, or that it can be interpreted different ways by different people. They're all really different. Like I said, I have a lot of I've got several bird type totem pieces. It kind of just becomes whatever it becomes as I go, and I don't really think much about it. And at the end of it, sometimes I don't know when things are done. That's one of the things that's challenging. It's like, when is something done? Because I've overdone it before and been like, oh, I think I just messed that up.
Yep.
But at some point, I think I'm getting better at recognizing when I should just put it down and walk away from it.
So I'll tell you, show this real quick because we're running out of time here, and I want you to tell, while you're showing this, tell everybody where they can look.
Yeah, you can find it on my social media right now. It's kind of where everything goes. And also I share it to Qi.Oui, which is at Qi.Oui, at Qi.We. So at
Qi.Oui is Qi.Oui.
Yeah, the French we. And it's funny because I'm deathly allergic to kiwi, the fruit, deathly, like EpiPen type level. so I kind of thought it was funny, and that's just, it became that, stayed that.
Tell everybody how they can hear your music.
Berkshire Sound, I've got a couple of songs right now out, Spotify and iTunes. I believe that Apocalypse is out right now. And then you can also go to the YouTube channel, I think is potentially been changed out of Berkshire Sound.
Okay.
Berkshire Sound also has or Facebook and a presence
Okay.
on Instagram.
I'll definitely go on there and look that up. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate Qi.Oui.
Matt always appreciates when you tune in. Be sure to subscribe to the Take It to the Mat channel on YouTube and hit like while you're at it.